Intern and J. Stevens, watching documentaries so you don't have to. 104.7 The Cave.
104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 242. This week was Jay's pick once again from the Trainwreck series.
The Trainwreck
this one
series
was Project X.
Trainwreck series does not disappoint.
These guys have been giving us a lot of things to talk about for the last several weeks. The Trainwreck series has turned out to be a really great source for us over the last
and they're so short and concise and well done.
It's concise and to the point. This one that we're talking about, going into it, I thought it was going to talk about some sort of like party that happened in the United States that went like this, because we've heard of these things happening.
Project X, right?
For example,
guy like throws a house party.
Airbnbs for a long time would be rented out for things like that. Oh yeah. Right, the early days, like
ran Airbnb and just invite everybody over, just destroy the place.
Yeah, I mean, and just if the kids don't care about debt and credit at 19 years old, they just can do whatever they want. Yeah. But they obviously nixed that. But this did not talk about a party that actually happened in the United States of America. It happened in the Netherlands. Yeah. Which, first off, what a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
I have.
You have been to the Netherlands?
I've been to Sweden, Switzerland. I've been to a bunch of places there briefly, like
Holland.
For a day at each one. Yeah, Holland, I think too. Yeah. Dutch shoes. Yeah, they make the wood shoes. Okay, yeah, the clogs. Yeah, I've been there then too. Yeah.
That's what you remember.
I remember the shoes. The wooden shoes.
Look at the wooden shoes.
The painted wooden shoes, man.
On-stage shimmy in those things, man. I'd slip my ass every time.
Hey, it makes the girls look taller.
But, you know, it really gives you kind of a perspective, too, of, like, what life is kind of like there.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed to me that while you hear about, like, you know, Amsterdam's in the Netherlands, right? And prostitution's legal there. Yeah. Drugs are legal there, not just marijuana. You can get all kinds of stuff there.
And phallic statues. I noticed they have phallic statues in that town, too.
But for being a place that welcomes all that, it was very conservative. You got the feeling they were very conservative.
Crime and stuff out there.
Yeah, they didn't have. Yeah, it was
cool, man.
Everything was chill. It seemed like it was all good.
And blonde women.
I'll give a whole segment to this.
We'll wait on that.
Well, no, we'll do it now. We might as well, so we don't waste all our time talking about the chicks. But Jesus, these women were incredibly gorgeous. Every single one of those chicks from the Netherlands.
I think we should send Tyler on a mission.
Tyler, with that mustache, dude, you would have no problem in the Netherlands.
I'm telling you, if you shave the edges,
actually, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Because what I've heard, and I don't know if this is specifically about just men or women, but what I've heard from people from Eastern Europe or the Netherlands, Holland, stuff like that, the girls that come over here from there that are just you're just like, oh my God, that chick is a 10. Whoa. And you get to know them, and she's like, well, here I am a 10, but over there I'm like a 6 or a 7.
So they come over here.
So they come over here, and we're just
stroking them,
fat slob idiot Americans, and these hot European chicks come over
get
here,
attention from
and they're
us.
like, boom, straight to the scale, because over there there's just it's so abundant, and like the level is a whole nother scheme over there.
Not to take this too Jay Stevens route, but I lived in LA for a while at an apartment complex where they would house a bunch of exchange students, and there was always Euro girls coming. And by the pool, it would just be a field day by the pool. And I would just go to their parties at their apartments. And
still to this day, why Jay Stevens will not submit to a DNA test. We'll be back. Dark Side of the Stream continues next on 104.7 The Cave. Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, back in the studio.
His wood clocks.
It's Dark Side of the Stream, episode 242, talking about the possibility Jay probably has some kid in the Netherlands singing Motley Crue right now in wooden clogs.
In red wood clogs.
Trying to do these shimmies. He doesn't understand why it doesn't work. If you are his son, please reach out. We'll reunite you guys. Definitely. I can't wait for that show. But something else I wanted to talk to you about this Project X was the Nightmare.
Dude,
What a cool
town has a
dude.
nightmare.
every town has a nightmare because, again, those places offer a nighttime service, whether it be women or men or drugs. They have after 5 o'clock, after everything closed down, another dude clocks in and he makes. But again, it was.
And dude, he was like a club promoter. He was the coolest cat, man.
But he was also, he ran it like a mob does.
Oh yeah.
And you could tell
Let me go talk to the
that
business,
these guys, like, it's almost like they understand that for those elements to exist, there has to be a level that understands black market activity or illegal activity so that it can be run a certain way. You're not going to be able to go to a city council and say, okay, how are we going to set up this prostitution area? Right, and then we're going to have the hash bars over here. Yeah, you got to have a guy who understands how the black market works, how that stuff needs to go down.
Very appealing to move to this country is what we're trying
dude,
to say.
Jay and I have already sent our applications in to be nightmares.
We sent our radio resumes out there.
I'm all about it.
There was actually radio DJs in the show, too, talking about the party.
There were a couple dudes. I thought the guys that had the Skull TV that went and shot the whole thing.
Basically, we've skipped the story here.
Yeah, well, but there was just so many different characters in it that we had to go through.
Basically, a chick made a birthday party, 16th birthday party at her house, and she lived in the richer part of town. Makes it public instead of private to her friends. She wanted to invite like 10 girls, and this thing blew up to what, 250,000 people saying they're coming?
It wasn't okay. It started small because she made it public, and then by the end of the school day, she had like 3,000 invitations.
Yeah, and she was like, "Whoa."
She knew that she had screwed up. She went back home. She told her parents. Well, she was honest with them.
Yeah, she seemed like a
she
good,
goes, hey,
good
but
girl.
She said, I don't think my dad really understood, like, got it, because he's like, wait a minute, does that mean 3,000 people are actually going to show up?
We
in my
don't
house?
have room for them.
We don't have room for our house. Should we leave?
Right.
And so she then quickly deletes the event. It hadn't been a full day.
And then you get the troublemaker kid.
Get this kid that's like, no, man, it ain't over.
This party's on.
We're going to do it. And we'll talk about what he caused next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. It's Dark Side of the Stream, episode 242.
Well, we're still
Project
in America.
X on Trainwreck. Yeah, until Jay and I move international and start doing our show from the Netherlands. If we can afford to live there, that is.
I don't know.
I get the feeling like you got to make some serious coin to have some of the.
No,
those houses that we saw.
What if you marry one of them rich
some of those houses that we saw in those neighborhoods are multi-million-dollar houses.
A Swedish sugar mama.
That's on you.
Dude,
just hire me as like I'll be your gardener or whatever.
Yeah,
if that's what it takes.
Mike will tend to the poppies.
I'll live in the. That's not my lane. I'll live in the garden shed if you want. But anyway, so as we were saying, the young girl, she deletes the event, but then some jerks like, nah, screw this. I'm gonna push it further.
Party's
so
going.
he then continues, and then it gets to 5 figures of people, and eventually
Insane.
She gets a hold of him somehow, and eventually, I guess her father reaches out to the guy, eventually kind of brings it home to him, like, hey, dude,
you're sending all these people to our house.
You got to understand, like, this is public information, and this isn't gonna fly. And so eventually, the kid's like, okay, I'll I get it. But the damage had already been done.
Genie's out the bottle. Party's going on.
He kept the ball rolling, which then allowed so many other of these copycat events to be created. And by the end of the day, they had 250,000, 500,000 people that said they were going to go on this little tiny town that had like maybe 10,000 people that live in there to show them there. So day of, the police, are kind of quarter off the street a little bit, but there's like 10 police officers for all these people that are just mobbing the place, and like every liquor store is selling booze, and it just
goes crazy,
wild, and then eventually police start to push back, and then the people start to push back, and it just turns into
cars
a
getting
riot.
Flipped over, lit on fire,
damage to property.
What a party! But
I will say that within
very quickly,
within 8 hours, the entire town was fixed.
Yeah.
I love my country more than anything in the world. I have the American flag tattooed on half of my arm, for Christ's sake. I love this country. I love the freedom that we have, and I'm extremely grateful for what we get to do here. But one thing that I think we can do better of as a job, and this is 2 different countries I've seen that treat their public space better than we do here in the United States. You go to Japan, and you will see shop owners cleaning the street, not the sidewalk in front of their store, the literal street where people here will be pride. Like, that's somebody else's job.
Yeah, no, they
Netherlands, they get destroyed by a bunch of teenagers, and within a day, they all help each other clean it up, and they fix it because it is everyone's responsibility. The one thing in this country that drives me crazy more than anything else is how quickly everyone is willing to just pass the buck on to someone else and don't take accountability that if it's your neighbor's, it's yours. It should be just as much your responsibility to help your neighbor and your brother and your sister. And other countries do it so much better than we do. And I just gave you 2 examples that I've seen with my very own eyes.
I wonder why,
Because we are spoiled children. And that's all I'll say on that subject right now. Hopefully it's not too far gone. We'll be back with this review of this awesome documentary next, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, back one more time. It's Dark Side of the Stream, episode 242. And we're discussing Trainwreck Project X. Again, I thought it was also interesting that the girl that started this whole thing with her birthday party, which it wasn't her fault. I mean, she was 16. She didn't really know. I mean, it wasn't really. She's a new cool kid. She though at the beginning, did you notice what she said? She goes, "I don't come back here very often because these guys seem to not forget about what happened." So she's kind of been like a pariah.
She threw the party of the year. She's a legend.
A little bit of a Jay Stevens in her own neighborhood, if you will. So. But I'd give it a solid 4. Definitely
solid 4 too. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, great documentary.
Quick, shed light on a story I didn't know about.
I didn't get a chance to discuss any of our. Did you ever have any parties that were so big that got out of control?
No, I threw an awesome Halloween party once that was definitely a top-notch party.
That was your Project X?
It didn't get out of control, though. It didn't get crazy.
I could sit here for another hour and tell you all the parties that I threw and every iteration of my life. I'll just discuss one that happened in the other part of the state, in the Boot Heel, when I was there growing up, in a town that will not be named with individuals that won't be named.
Ooh,
we were definitely underage. I don't think half of us could even drive. That'll tell you how young we were. We had found this really cool creek by a buddy's house that was kind of up against a cornfield. And for a while, there would just be a group of 5 to 10 of us. We'd go down, set a fire, maybe do a little of this or that, hang out, as kids do, and then we'd all say we'd be staying at this dude's house, but we'd all go out and do our thing.
Yeah, we've all done that.
Well, it just started getting bigger and 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 bigger until the point where we had one party one night that there were, I can't even count how many people were there, but it's going big, and people are starting to go in the cornfield, starting to mess around, and we're like, this is getting out of hand. Well, while I'm standing there, all of a sudden, I could kind of make out in the distance where the country road was. I was like, those are vehicles. Like, I was like, are those cars out there? And then as soon as I have that, all of the spotlights started going on. Boom, 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 boom. There was like 5 of them. And everyone's like, all at once, everyone just goes, to the cornfield! And we all ran into the cornfields.
Wow.
So the police get outside of the cornfield. They won't go into it. They didn't chase us in there. They wouldn't go in. And they just, on their little loudspeaker, come out of the cornfield. No! Screw you!
Oh, yes, dude.
The only person that got arrested that night was the kid who thought he would be able to make it back to his car. Everyone else stayed in that cornfield forever until the police left. But the only one that got busted that night was the one who thought he could make it. And he got popped. Yeah. He did not make it. And he got MIP and all this stuff. Dude. But yeah, I had these parties, and they were awesome, but they were never in my own house.
Yeah, no, you don't
but I wouldn't be sitting here today because my dad would have taken my life. You don't want to have a party at
your own house.
No, but speaking of parties, next week our documentary will be another from the Trainwreck series. This one will be about the Area 51
Storm 51
flash mob, if you will, and I can't wait to discuss this. We actually tried it. We really strongly considered going when this thing happened.
Yeah, I did a radio thing about it. Yeah, remember, called into your show.
We considered it very strongly. We just don't have any money. Yeah. Either way, watch these.
We could have got that sponsored, I think.
Maybe.
Send Jay Stevens to Area 51. If we would have put some thought into it.
We probably could have.
Could have.
Either way, we do this every Thursday, 9 a.m. You can watch it on Facebook or YouTube. You can listen to it as a free podcast on a 104.7 The Cave app. Stream it online at 1047thecave.com, or just listen to us during the radio times, 9 a.m., 6 p.m. I'm Mike the Intern. That's Jay Stevens reminding you, we watch movies so you don't have to. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.